I t'és di Sulauan Sci-Fi Podcast.
Hello, and this is episode 126 of the Sulauan Sci-Fi Podcast. It's Michael Ball and Martin Fowler back for a brand new year, talking about our favourite TV shows and films, mostly in the sci-fi genre. Not all of them, but 99% of them are. Hello, Martin. How are you?
Hello, I'm very good. I had a very nice Christmas. I was ill New Year's Eve, so I couldn't go out, and that was it really. But I'm glad to be back into reality, and everything's going back to normal slowly, and life's good.
Yeah,
and,
it's a sort of surreal time of year where you're kind of detoxing literally from Christmas. And you have to sort of re-slot back into the normality of life, and I'm not quite there yet. I'm still sort of like
yeah, it's still there, isn't it? That outer spacey sort of that weak feeling, that that week we don't know what day it is.
Yeah.
Still
I'm
there,
still out of sync.
Yeah,
and we had a bank holiday in the UK as well, so we all went back to work a day later than normal. So it's already we're recording this on Thursday. We normally record it on Wednesday, and we won't dwell on it, but we're certainly interested with what's going on with certain things politically, when it comes to strikes, when it comes to health, when it comes to transport, and it's all pretty shitty. And that's all I'm going to say about it, Martin.
Yeah. Welcome to Britain.
Come over and get a plane over here, and then get a bus. But no, you won't be able to get a bus, so you won't be able to get a
fuck
plane.
all works.
And if you die, if you collapse on the street, you won't get picked up by an ambulance. So yes. Welcome to UK 2023. So this week we've got a few things. Now, did you want to talk about the subject film first, or should we just talk about a couple of news items? Which would you like to do? I don't mind either way.
Well, we're going to cut out and come back again, aren't we? So I'd do the film first.
Fair enough. All right, so let's go into this film. This is a film that but actually, let's just hear the jingle and then we'll go into it. Here we go.
It's the
Solar Sci-Fi
Focus of the Week.
Alright, so this is a film that I only saw, I think, for the first time last year. I think it was made in 2007, was it? I haven't actually got the information up yet. It wasn't exactly the most original premise, but when I saw this film, and I know, Martin, we talked before we started recording about this, we were both very impressed with this film, and I don't know what it was. And this is a film called Life. It's actually 2017, not 2007. And it is, I'm just going up the Internet Movie Database with some information about it. So it's basically, the synopsis is a team of scientists aboard the International Space Station discover a rapidly evolving life form that causes extinction on Mars and now threats to all life on Earth. It stars Jake Gyllenhaal, I can't pronounce that, Rebecca Ferguson, Ryan Reynolds, and Hiroyuki Sanada. So let's just first ask you, Martin, when did you first see it? It's not that old a film. Did you like it? Obviously you did.
I saw it on DVD, I think.
Okay.
And it was 2017.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's coming up on Wikipedia.
Yeah, I'm doing the same as well. Yeah.
Here we are. Right. Yeah. Plot, release, references, space station. Right. I enjoyed it, but to me, it reminded me of the film I'd already seen.
Okay. What did it remind you of?
It reminded me of the film. Do you remember the one? Do you remember that film I think we reviewed it, David Duchovny? With the life forms that were on Earth? With the emoji thing?
I don't know if we've reviewed that. Have we reviewed that one?
Where they find that cell thing and it starts evolving.
Oh, evolution. Yeah, evolution, I think it was. I don't know if we reviewed
evolution, yeah. And for some reason, it's David Duchovny. It reminded me of that, but that came out years before.
Right.
And it's a similar thing, an organic life form that starts evolving and changing and stuff. And I suppose in some weird way, life could have parallels to the thing as well.
It reminded me of Alien as well, in some ways. But it was kind of like, to me, it was it was a mix of The Thing and Alien. Although, of course, it had its own unique vibe to it. What I liked about it, first of all, was, and it shouldn't be a major factor, but I think that the actual effects of the actual organism as it grew and changed and mutated and everything, I think it was really solidly done. It was really, in that, to me, it's what gave this film an edge. If it had been made like in the 80s or 90s, it might have really not helped it out.
Yeah, I think they were trying to like go with sort of science accuracy a bit more with this as well.
Well, I think that was really interesting. And I think, to me, I don't know why, it's just it really just felt like one of the most alien things I'd ever seen shown, depicted in a movie. And the way it slowly evolved from this tiny microscopic thing to a tiny thing in the petri dish, and then it got bigger, and then it started to become more aware, and then started to interact, and it was a real classic science fiction monster movie in many ways.
Yeah, it was.
But for me, it really stood out on its own merits. It was unique. It seemed to have a great. I like the characters in it. I like the fact it was on the. It was actually set contemporary. It was set on the ISS station, which I thought was good as well. And I just thought it was a very solid film. I mean, obviously, it has a downbeat ending. But I mean, when you watched the film, did it go where you thought it was going to take you, or did it surprise you?
Well, another film it reminded me of was Species 2.
I was thinking about watching Species, the first one. I've not seen it. I have seen it with the blonde woman, but long time ago. Is Species 2 different?
The second one, they got to Mars, and again, it's a cellular thing. It takes over the ship,
right,
and it gets back to Earth. It's very similar, the life form.
I don't think I've seen the sequel. So you're saying that's
bad.
worth
It's
worth
not
a watch?
bad. They spent more money. It's worth a look. Yeah, it's worth a look. It's
all right.
Interesting where it went.
Yeah,
but it reminded me of Virus for some reason.
Yeah.
I know that's like organic and like a half human cyborg virus thing.
right.
But somehow these films with this like life form evolves.
Okay.
An evolution. It reminds me of that. But I thought Life, out of all the others, they're all quite far-fetched. But Life were quite scientifically...
It really felt sound to me.
accuracy, because the beginning of the film, what I remember, they sent the probe to Mars and it launched from Mars, and they had a guy on the space arm outside the station.
Satellite was coming back, but it got damaged. It was a bit out of control.
And they had to catch it.
They're trying to catch it with his arm.
Which
That's
I found
right.
interesting.
Yeah, I did too. I thought that was really good. And of course, they were so happy when they finally got it, and they finally got their sample. And of course, it would have been so much better if they had missed it. And of course, it would have. But then it would have been a very interesting movie. But I just thought that when I saw this, I just thought, yeah, this film is really quite solid in the way it was done. And I think this is one of those films where, you know, like The Martian, it's like certain films you watch where it won't date very fast. It will still look good for a long time. Whereas certain other films really date badly and just are harder to appreciate in the long term. This, to me, is definitely a film I could come back to for many years' time, I think, and still enjoy it.
Yeah, I could. Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, what did you think about the fact that this species was the species that apparently it did wipe out all life on Mars, and then because of Mars, from what I understand, because the conditions of the atmosphere and everything on Mars changed, that this life form died, and it just became kind of like dormant cells.
Yeah.
I just thought it was very, very clever. I just like the idea of the fact that, because we've had so many Martian depictions over the years, from War of the Worlds to even episodes of The Outer Limits. So, but this one, to me, it felt like one of the strongest ideas where it could really happen, where something really that dangerous could evolve, and if it was in the right conditions. That's the whole point. What made it come back to life was it was in an environment where it had more oxygen, it had better, it wasn't too cold, and it could actually start to evolve again. And that was the whole point. It was only dormant on Mars because it obviously Mars for thousands and thousands of years was uninhabitable to any species that we potentially could have seen if it had been in the past. I just thought it was really solid. I really thought it was clever. So obviously the film as it goes on, it goes more and more out of control, kind of thing. Did you? I mean, should we talk about the ending now, or is there anything else you want to dwell on before we talk about how it ends
No,
up?
I found the film what were interesting because it were quite grounded in a weird sort of way. It is a grounded sort of film, and we never got a sequel. I don't think it was a big hit at the cinema. I don't think
I
did
wasn't that
well.
aware of it. I mean, I'm
No,
obviously am aware of it.
DVD I picked up on it.
It wasn't a big film. It wasn't like Independence Day or something. It wasn't like a huge cinematic thing. And like you think of other things like Interstellar and certain other films in recent years where they were big and you remember them.
Yep.
Life, I came across it, and I don't know how I came across it. I don't know. It might have been a recommendation on the internet.
You say like with all like the other films, Evolution, it's all your standard sci-fi tropes in that.
It is. It is.
But with this, I know it's like based on a similar thing, but it was a scientific accuracy, even the science behind the life form itself. And I found that interesting that there's something out there that its job is to go somewhere and just dominate and then spread to another world. So I mean, it leaves to the question: where does it come from? Is what does it evolve fully into? I mean, and you could have gone down this in a sequel, like down the scientific path of it.
Well, I mean, actually, I want to talk about this potential sequel ideas after we talk about the ending. So the ending was that basically there was 2 escape capsules that left the station. One was the female character, the other was the guy, and he was the one who was trapped in with the organism. It just will not die. It's just it's what I love about the movie. Everything they do, they try so hard to get rid of this thing. It will not die. It just keeps coming back and coming back, coming back. And of course, the twist was that there's one scene where you see one capsule going off into space, being lost forever. The other one is heading towards the Earth. And of course, you think it is that the woman is the one that's heading towards Earth, and the guy is the one that's going into space with the organism. And of course the twist is that he's the one that's inadvertently going back down with the organism and she's lost in space. And at the end, and it was a brilliant ending, it was this scene where the capsule lands, I think it was in the sea or something near an island, and this boat comes up and he's still alive and it's in there and he's saying, do not open it, do not open it, do not. I think it does open and then it fades out. So my question is, how come there wasn't a sequel? It could have been a fascinating sequel. What do you think?
Well, the sequel would have been that she would have been in the sequel because she'd have probably gone off on some weird orbit around the Earth and come down later on when this thing has expanded. Yeah. But I suppose I think that's where that would have come.
I suppose if they did it in that way, then it would have been just a generic, the organism is spreading and it'd be like Earth against the organism kind of thing. And whether
that's what you can answer. Well, that's what it's going to be anyway.
But it would have been. Whether it would have increased in size and been a single organism, or whether it was suddenly breed and split up into smaller organisms, and like, you know what I mean? I just don't know how it would have gone.
You could have done it that one government gets hold of it and traps it, and then it's experimenting on it, and because they're thinking this could be a new weapon, but this thing's highly intelligent and it's using them. Yeah. And then she comes back around in a weird orbit and lands, and she's the one that has to deal with it and they create a virus to kill it. That it's organic.
Martin, you should pitch it. You should do a pitch to MGM, whoever made it, to write the sequel. I think, and then you could make a lot of money. And no, but it's a good idea.
I wrote a say. I came up with a sequel to Battle Beyond the Stars. The Search for the Missing Penis.
Oh well, yeah. Well, we're going to talk about that.
The Bollocks flies down space looking for its other bit.
But the main ship is not Bollocks; it's a pair of tits.
It's a pair of bullocks.
No, it's tits.
It's a pair of bullocks.
It's tits. It's tits. I've done the graphic next week, and you see it, and it's even got nipples.
Oh, for God's sake! It's a bloody pair of bollocks.
It's a pair of tits, man. We're gonna have next week. We're talking about this movie, and I think it's going to be a lot of talking about this particular subject. Okay, I'll even share a graphic.
Back to life.
Sorry, back to life. We'll get a life.
Well,
yes.
I mean, where do you go with it? Right? Where do you go? I mean, there's 2 ways of going somewhere. She goes round in a weird fucking orbit around the moon and back, comes back, right? This thing's on the loose. She falls in love with a scientist, and her and him, they have this amazing night of sex. The Earth rumbles, and then they create a virus and shoot a missile into it as it's becoming its ultimate form, and they destroy it.
Yeah, I can see that.
And they save the world, and they live happily ever after. Or you could do it where the government, them people that turn up in that boat, they're really government people. They know about it. This thing could have been to Earth before.
Yeah. Well, it could have been. It
came on a meteorite sample from Mars.
It might have been better actually if it just stayed as it is. That it's like an original thing where it was just. I don't know. It's quite interesting, isn't it? I don't know. But
well, it is. But that's what would you do with a sequel?
I think what you just said is kind of like what I just thought, that the organism then, I think the organism would start to maybe replicate and just become a dominant force. Then it'd be just a generic sort of movie where they're trying to fight the alien kind of thing. So I don't know whether maybe it's a movie where it just needed just the original, and that's as good as it should have been. You know, thinking about it. I mean, the more I think about it, I think that may be the case. So I don't know.
Yeah.
So, but I did think that it was a good movie. And
I like it. I'd like it. I really do like it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to just very quickly change the subject and show this for a second. I know you can see this image on here. Right.
Yeah.
Now, can you see that graphic for next week's episode? Is it showing up on there? That is not a pair of bollocks. That's all I'm saying, because this is on audio.
I can see it. Well, yeah, because you made it look like a pair of bloody shit.
That is not. That is actually the thing.
It's a pair of bollocks.
No, it's not. I'm going to stop it now.
It's a pair of bollocks. And also, who's that other fucking alien on the end in the poster? Who's that big bug creature? He wasn't in the bloody
Yeah, I
thing.
didn't know. I wanted that as well. I mean, because when I did the graphics...
Yeah, well,
let me put it back on for you, actually, as we're sharing this a second. But,
Yeah.
Let's put it back on again. Okay, share. I don't do the sharing very often on here. Yeah, who is this fella? Has it come up on yours? There we go. There you got it. Who's that?
Well, I don't know that. I don't know who that is.
Well, this is
the dude with the two heads.
This is an amalgamation of about
the dude with the two heads as well.
No, that's the white things. The ones with the eyes in the middle.
The dude with the two heads.
Oh, I don't know.
No, you've got the bug creature. And then you've got the thing with the two heads. Who the bloody hell's that?
Well, look, we'll have to talk about this poster again next week. I know I'm going off topic, but it's just that, you know, because like
fantastic
I said,
poster, fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's a mix of about 2 or 3 different posters. Anyway, let's stop that. So, sorry.
And it is a pair of bullets.
It's a pair of tits. Next week. Battle Beyond the Tits. So let's finish sum up with this first movie we talk about this week. So Life. I mean 2017. So potentially you know, it could have had a sequel. I don't think it will have a sequel if it wasn't that successful in the actual box office wherever. But it was a cinema release, wasn't it? It wasn't like a TV movie, was it?
It was. I don't think it was a big hit.
I'm looking at the box office information here. It says on here actually. Yeah, my computer's a bit slow. Give it a second to load up.
Yeah, mine's a bit slow today.
Yeah, it's just this is asking me to.
Marketing.
Oh no, it's alright. I've got a banner on here and I can't see.
I'm on Wikipedia.
What does it say on yours? Because mine's got some stupid blurb on it.
Life was released after being announced the release date to avoid competition with the Pirates of the Caribbean and Alien Covenant that moved it to the.
Oh, Alien Covenant. Okay.
Box office, Life grossed 30 million, and it grossed. Life grossed 30 million in the United States, Canada 7, and other territories for a worldwide gross 105 million against a production budget of 58 million. It flopped.
Yeah, sounds like it, doesn't it? Oh, that's a real shame.
Flops, basically.
Yeah, it's a shame because I really do think that it was definitely worth a review.
Well, it cost 58. It cost 58 million.
That's a big loss then. That's a big loss then. If it only made 30 million,
that should have at least done 250 million at least. Got the money back. Because the money, it's the advertising budget as well. That's massive for films. You know, the advertising budget, promotion.
Yeah, it is.
Well, we never got a sequel.
No, well, I think
but
that's
what would you think? There is another idea for a sequel. Could you turn Life into a TV series?
I would like to. I could certainly find it interesting. You mean a sequel as a TV series after the movie?
Yeah.
I can see that. I can see that where it starts off from the actual escape capsule, and then the very first people who encounter it and how it starts to interact now that it's physically on Earth. Yeah, I could see that happening. I think that could be interesting.
Yes,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's possible in the future somewhere. But if it flopped that badly, then it doesn't sound to me like it's going to do that. I think it's quite well rated though. I think it's quite well regarded. What's it gone out of? What is it out of 10?
It's a decent film. It's one of them. It's one of them sci-fi films where you regard it quite highly. I think.
Yeah.
You know, it's. So I'm not going to knock it. I quite enjoyed it. I don't think I'd go back to it though.
I've seen it twice now. I did go back to it when I watched it over the Christmas break.
What was it like the second time?
I liked it just as much the second time. It's definitely
okay.
a movie.
I might give it a look.
Yeah.
I might give it a look.
See, I mean, I actually, that's exactly what I'm saying. That I actually thought, I wouldn't mind seeing that again, and I did it, and I really enjoyed it again.
You see, for me, the certain films for me I will watch, and because everybody's watched them, so I will watch them. But it's like, for once I've watched them, I won't go back to them.
Yeah.
You know, you thought that's been a bad. That was a good film, but I'm not going to watch it again. You know.
Yeah, like Santa Claus Invades.
But Life's
the Martians.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, there's nothing new with story.
No, it's not original.
Same old
it's not
story,
original.
But they did try to put but they did try to add a bit of scientific accuracy to it.
Yeah.
Which I found interesting. It gave it that little bit of an edge over all the others.
Yeah, I think it was really good. I'm really glad.
I do recommend Species.
Yeah. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a hold of a copy of Species 1, which I haven't seen for many years. Although that film was used in an episode of Sliders with Maggie, where she gets inhabited by an alien life form and she wants to breed. And it's a really cheap episode. Yeah, and that was definitely inspired by the first Species movie. I've no idea about the second Species movie, but I want to check it out. All right, Martin, I think that's pretty much it for our review of the film. If you haven't seen it, and I think you should check it out. It's definitely worth a watch. Thank you, Martin, for sharing that. Right, at this point, we're going to just quickly go into some news. We'll be right back. Here we go.
Working.
So the sci-fi
News.
All right, so a few bits of news I've encountered this week. The most important is potentially some bad news for the Stargate franchise. Now, one thing that we've been talking ever since we started the podcast 3 years ago, over 3 years now, is that most of the main sci-fi franchises have got something going on. Doctor Who has its own show going, plus a new spin-off is coming. Star Wars has just gone through the roof with these new TV versions of the actual franchise, and of course Star Trek is also doing well with about 3 or 4 live action series, as well as all this animated stuff. But the one that we've all been waiting for is of course the Stargate franchise, which to me is one of the top 3 franchises in science fiction for me. So from what we understood, there was talk now that Amazon is creating its own streaming. No, not Amazon. MGM is creating its own streaming thing, where Amazon and MGM are working to potentially create a new Stargate series. And from what I've heard, they were now getting into some serious talks where it's coming down to the money. It's coming down to what Amazon would. I think it's Amazon or is it MGM? One of them would actually be funding towards the other because they work together. And it looks like now the money required to do a season rather, which would be shorter, not like the old SG1 days. Apparently, it's fallen through because Stargate potentially is an expensive series to make, at least for the sets. If they were, for instance, to build a new Cheyenne Mountain base with the Stargate's house, all that stuff, those have been really impressive sets. And so apparently it's all stalled. Apparently all the businessmen have said, well, no, look, we can't afford that because it's too expensive, we can't afford a full season. The news is that there is no news for a new Stargate for the moment. So have you heard anything about this?
I'd like to send a message to Jeff Bezos firstly.
Okay. Who's Jeff Bezos?
Do you mind if I send him?
No.
He owns Amazon.
Oh, him. Yes.
Him, yeah.
Oh, what are you going to tell him?
Right, Jeff Bezos, you utter twat. Right? You've got more money than God, right?
Yeah.
And you fly around in space in a big dick.
Yes.
Right? And you're telling us you can't afford a fucking Stargate series. I'm cancelling my subscription.
Okay.
If you don't do it.
Okay.
And I think we should start hashtag cancel your Amazon account because he's not paying for fucking Stargate and we want it back. We don't want new reinvents of it. We want it continued.
Yeah.
You sat on a multi-billion-dollar franchise and you're spending the money to go up into space in a big dick.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologise.
I didn't think I'd get quite that reaction, but that's fine. That's fine. It's all part of the fun. Yeah, I mean, so obviously then it was the Amazon side that were funding it, and MGM were going to produce it, I assume. I don't know how it was. So
well, Amazon own MGM. They own everything MGM owns. They own it outright. They own the Bond franchise.
Yeah, so as you say, Amazon is the ones that actually, because they own MGM, they're the ones, as you say, who can easily finance a 20-episode live-action Stargate series.
Do a pilot. Do a 2-hour pilot and see what you get with it.
The thing is with MGM, I know this, that Stargate is one of its biggest assets. It's huge. You know, it's...
So,
I don't know.
Why are they messing about?
And why, after they've seen that Star Trek has come back, the Star Wars has come back, and some of the others. Now, from what I understood, and like I said, I'm not as knowledgeable as a lot of people out there. There's a YouTube channel called Sidetrek, who...
I watch him.
Okay, yeah, because I've only come across them, actually. I
mentioned him to you the other week. He's very good.
Yeah, because this is actually what came across, because actually this is why I'm subscribed, because I saw it come up. And this was about the Stargates that we're talking about now. And, you know, they were very informative about the fact that, from what we have understood, I've said this to you before, Brad Wright had made a pitch to MGM to create a new Stargate series, and it was turned down. And from what I understand, and like I said, we haven't got the information, it looked more likely that they were going to do their own unique, like, reboot kind of thing, which I don't want. I want Stargate.
There's no point. There's no point.
It won't work. It won't work.
You're just going to go over the same story over and over.
It won't work.
They'll probably change the aliens or whatever. But
make the Stargate look different.
So what? I don't want that.
No, I don't either.
Just continue it after Universe.
Well, this is what I'm saying.
You know, 20 years on, the world knows about it.
Yeah, but I get, from what I understand, they're thinking that people won't know that Stargate is about.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm cutting out again. Hang on. Trying to. You can hear me now? Is it gone?
Yeah, I can hear you. I think we're both fizzling in and out.
I think both our internets are playing up a bit today. Sorry. So I think that the producers are thinking that people won't know what the original Stargate series is about, which is daft because all it will do is it will make people check out the original series or the original movie from 1994.
Well, Amazon America, they took all the Stargate off.
Yeah, I heard that. Go on.
Yeah, why? Why have they took it off? I can't understand why would you do that? Hundreds of episodes of an amazing set, and Amazon America removed it. People are not happy about it.
No.
You know, and they're shutting down the Stargate website as well. That's getting shut down. You think they could be just shoving it under the carpet for another day?
Sounds more likely.
The website's getting shut down this year, yeah.
Well, then it sounds. I think it's being buried. I think they're going to just think, oh, bollocks to it for a while and just come back and another time. I think Must be buried, I assume.
Well, then sell it to Netflix or something. Then sell it, sell the franchise. Sat on a multi-billion-dollar franchise that's got potential to be bigger than Star Trek and the Star Wars stuff, and they just sat on it. And it could, Amazon would get more subscribers. They'd make a bloody fortune out of it. People are paid to watch a new Stargate series. They would.
Yeah, well, I certainly would. I love it. As long as it's done good. I mean, this is the thing.
But
Yeah.
I heard we're going to be past it. The people that did The Expanse, they want to get hold of it.
I don't know.
You know the creators of The Expanse, they're interested in doing it. They want to do it. I don't know where they're going to take it, but they're interested. Now, I've got faith in that.
I've got faith in that because they're a really good bunch of people. They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
If they
definitely,
did
and
that,
they
I'd be
understand,
really
yeah.
pleased. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I heard apparently if it was a reboot, it would go to Bad Robot. They would do it. Did you hear that as well? That's the other thing I meant to say to you about that. After the Kelvin and everything. No.
You know what? The Kelvin version of Stargate?
Well, a Bad Robot did it. I assume it might be something potentially like that.
Set in a parallel universe. Oh, forget it. It just what's the point, man? Do you know what? Just get back in your big dick and fly out into outer space and don't come back. That's why he's got no money, because he's flying around in that awful
in the big
Blue
thing.
Origin spaceship.
But then he might encounter a ship which is orange and has a pair of breasts,
Yeah.
which are going to be reviewed next week.
Yeah.
So yeah. Hashtag anatomy ships.
Yes, yeah. The missing bits of the thing off Battle Beyond the Stars is Jeff Bezos' Blue Origin.
Hey, I tell you one thing, I could do a really good Photoshop of them mixed together or something.
That'd be interesting. I look forward to seeing that, my friend. I really do. That should be entertaining. Yeah, that will be getting.
If I remember
memed and
that,
shared
I could put it on the screen next
Yeah.
week in the episode, whatever. So I might,
Yeah.
I've got no
Yeah.
promises, but I do like doing a bit of Photoshop.
Yeah, it would be interesting.
But anyway, going back to Stargate, it's obviously a big shame if it's not going to happen. It's one of our favourites.
Yes,
And
yes.
if it's not going to happen, it's not going to happen. We can't. Nothing we can do. I would have thought that Amazon would have more faith in the actual franchise themselves, and be prepared to put in a bit more extra money to get this series going, because it
Yes,
could be a big
yes.
rival to Star Wars. It could be huge. It could really be huge.
I agree.
But there's one thing. I mean, apparently all the actual streaming services they've all been hit recently with the reduction in subscribers. Apparently, it's not going so well for a lot of them at the moment. So I don't know what's causing it.
Sidetrack were on about that. Yeah.
Yeah, again, sidetrack. So apparently, it's not just Disney. I assume Paramount Plus as well. So
I got rid of Disney a year ago. They put
Did you?
the prices up. It went, yeah, I got it. When the pandemic were on, I got a thing, an advert, and it said it was £50 for a year.
right.
So I thought because we're all stuck in the house, I'll get it, 50 quid. And then second year, it was 50 quid again. And then when we went into, this year, they wanted £79.
That's quite a big jump.
That's what I thought.
That's a
yeah,
big
and I
jump.
Thought, well, it was £69 or £79. I thought, well, I'm not paying that.
Yeah, but
I'm
it's-
sure. I think it was 60. I'm sure it was, but they put it up quite a bit. And,
The only thing I'd watch on
I thought
that
the
is
only
Star Wars.
things-
Star Wars is the only thing.
The
I'd
only
watch.
the only time I go back to Disney is like when Obi-Wan was.
Obi-Wan or not Andor.
That was rest of the week. I just didn't bother with it, so I tune in for like She-Hulk or Captain America and Winter.
Oh yeah, they've got the Marvel stuff.
you know,
Yeah, they've got the Marvel stuff. Yeah.
I did for one episode of that week, but rest of it I didn't bother with it. I couldn't be bothered. So, but if you think about it, if you start, we've said this before, if you put all these streaming net, I mean, we know we've got Paramount now, but there's Hulu and all these others. Can you imagine how much you'd be paying a month for all of it together? It'd be like a massive Sky package.
So how do you think it's going to go then? What's your
I
assessment?
think there's going to be. I think we're in the middle of streaming wars, and there's going to be one or two big companies that will survive. and
Disney
there'll be
will
mergers.
survive. Disney will survive.
Oh yeah, definitely. Disney will survive. I think Netflix will.
If they want to advertise though, that's what puts me off Netflix. The fact they want to
They'll
adverts.
merge, but Paramount is losing money. Paramount is People are just dropping. From
So,
it.
do you think then, if that's the case, then potentially any new Star Trek live action series might fold? It might not happen. Or do you think it's like a long-term thing?
Well, and what have we got coming this year? I mean, we've got
We've got Strange New Worlds, Picard. Yeah,
yeah,
and we've got Discovery.
and Discovery, and the 2 cartoon series. I mean, been nothing new advertised. I thought we were getting the Rafa Khan miniseries, Khan, in the 21st century. We're going to get that. The Michelle Yeoh thing, Section 31. What's happened to that? And there was some other stuff. A new starship coming, set in the 24th. All these, none of it's happening.
Yeah,
I
so
think they're
that's.
cutting back. I don't think they can afford it.
So, if that's the case, do you?
I think Discovery's about. Strange New Worlds is about $8-9 million an episode. It's not like Next Gen where it were $1.5 million. Discovery, I think first season episodes were going up into like 10-12 million.
Yeah,
you know.
it's just for the first time I'm getting a bit worried as to whether live action Star Trek's going to be continuing. I think it will, because I don't know. They're big though.
It's like the thing, you see what it is now. Since you play, like, we're not owning physical media now as much, right? And what's interesting is, so we pay for these subscription services, but we don't own anything. And then one day, if you can't afford to pay for it, you don't get it. You know what I mean?
Well, this is why I've got everything, because I've got copies of everything.
Well, that's why I'm going that way. This week I'm buying a 12 terabyte hard drive, and I'm going to load everything, all of it, into that big hard drive. Yeah.
Do you know what? I've been saying that to you for ages.
Yeah, I'm fed up. I've got loads of miniature ads and I'm fed up. I'm gonna put it all, cross it all over into one, and I'll have it plugged into the telly. And then if I need more, buy another big one and put it.
Yeah, well, I would say to you, if you can afford it, back it up. Do a copy. Because if your hard drive crashes, then you've lost everything. It's like literally someone's coming into your home and stolen all your audio. DVDs and stuff like that. So, but yeah, seriously, I think that's the way to go. That's the way I go. Whether it's physical media.
Well, I think it is
because you don't know.
When we finished.
I mean, I want a Star Trek series, which is mine. What if someone likes something? Go on.
When we finish this podcast, I'm going to tell you something that's going to blow your mind.
Okay. Well, I look forward to hearing.
I'd rather not say.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We'll do it privately.
What I discovered 2 days ago blew my mind.
All right.
And it's something we predicted. I've been looking forward to telling you.
Okay. All right. Now listen, the internet's really playing up. You sound a bit like a Dalek. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to share with today's episode.
I'm very annoyed at DC. They're rebooting their entire universe, and they're going, and they got rid of Henry Cavill as Superman, which I'm very annoyed about.
Right.
And they're going back. The next Superman film is going to be about him coming from Krypton and meeting Lois Lane.
Oh.
You know, we've already got an established Superman, an established Justice League. Let's move on with it. But no, we're going right back to the beginning again. I'm not going to bother now. That's it. I'm just not going to bother.
Yeah.
These people like Bad Robot and all this, they get older stuff and just end up ruining it.
Yeah, I know. This is why
I'm sick of it.
That's why I think in some ways Stargate, maybe it's best for it finished on with Continuum or the universe.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
maybe it won't. I don't. You know, because Star Trek got damaged with Discovery. I don't care what anybody says. When it came back,
I concur with you totally.
It really blemished its record.
Now.
It really. I don't get me wrong. I'm actually a bit better with Discovery seasons 1 and 2 at least, but it did damage the franchise. I'm sorry, it did. It was so out of it.
It went right up its own backside, didn't it? And I just, that was it for me. I went out, and I never got into the cat and said I really did.
No, I think they're very good. It's just not for me. I just don't fancy watching them. It's just not for me.
Yeah.
You know, if you like them, good. I've heard that they're very funny. Prodigy is for young kiddies. The other one's supposed to be like a Simpsons Star Trek, but I don't want Simpsons Star Trek. I want live action.
I just want Star Trek. I just want Star Trek. That's all I want. That's all I want. All I ever wanted was Star Trek, and you know, and I don't care about generational gaps and all this. I know what Star Trek is. I've lived and breathed it. I just want Star Trek. Strange New Worlds is the only thing that is Star Trek to me that's out there. The rest of it, even Picard, I tried.
I think,
and it went down so low.
I've got a very good feeling about Picard season 3. I think it's going to work for season 3.
Yeah, and then you're going to sit there and think, why couldn't they make the first 2 seasons like that?
Yeah, because the first episodes of season 2 are done by the guy that's done season 3, and the first episodes of season 2 of Picard were really, really good.
Yeah.
So, and it's only about 6 weeks to go until we finally get that, and we can finally.
Yeah,
It's not that. That's the thing to look forward to.
yeah.
Yeah, but we've only got about another 6 weeks until it comes back, so I'm looking
Yes.
forward to that. Right, anything else, Martin, before we wrap up?
Anything else before we wrap up? No, that's it. That's me done. There ain't much again. There's not much sci-fi news out there. I've moaned at Jeff Bezos.
Yeah.
Moaned at DC for getting rid of Henry Cavill, and that's it. Really, it's been a bit of the moany podcast. That's it.
It is the first week in January, so you are forgiven for that.
Yeah, it's the worst month of the year, isn't it?
Oh, it is. It's awful. I can't stand it. Right, Martin. I haven't got anything to finish up with this week, so I think we'll just sort of do a fade out. So, Martin, thank you very much. Have a good week. Next week, we're going to be talking about Ship Anatomy, a show called Battle Beyond the Stars. I'm going to have a real laugh with that one because that was really funny.
Well, can't wait.
That's going to be really funny. So, we will catch you next week on the Solar One Sci-Fi podcast. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. Yeah.